The Full Exposure Podcast is made possible by Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn in appreciation for the contributions that artists and creative minds provide to our community. Arts and culture are essential to a rich and rewarding life, strengthening our overall well-being and our appreciation of all that we see, hear, and experience. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Full Exposure with me, your host, Brian Kelly. I want to jump right into this episode with Justin Willman. It is a good one. I first met Justin in 2012 when he was a performer for Laughfest. And we had a quick shoot in Grand Rapids and just clicked and had a good time. And then he was back again for Laughfest in 2015. I did another portrait of him. And Justin is an amazing magician, a comedian. He mixes comedy and magic, unlike anyone, I think, on the comedy scene. He really blends both worlds in a very, very unique way. And I've sort of struck up a friendship with him. This episode was shot in Los Angeles, or actually in Studio City. Justin was kind enough to host our podcast at his home in Studio City and in his backyard. And even during this episode, you're going to hear some airplanes outside. You're going to hear some neighbors that had some leaf blowers going and some other lawn equipment. But we powered through this episode and this recording at his home in Studio City. And Justin has become a friend. We've sort of bonded over his wife Jill has type 1 diabetes. My daughter, Maddie, who's 18, has type 1 diabetes since she was 4. And we talked about that last year. I was out in Los Angeles last year, a little over a year ago, I guess, or almost 2 years ago. And I contacted Justin and said, hey, I'm in town. Do you want to do a photo shoot? And we had a spectacular photo shoot together over the course of a few hours in downtown Los Angeles. I'll post some of those older portraits that I did of Justin over the years on the fullexposurepodcast.com episode page for Justin. And but we also shot some new portraits in his backyard in Studio City, and I really like those as well. And so Justin, I really need to credit Laughfest for this collaboration I've had with them for 10 years. And introducing me to Justin and also many other top comics and performers from around the world that have come in for Laughfest. And it's a fantastic organization. In fact, Justin is coming back for the 2020 edition of Laughfest in March. And you want to get tickets to see that. And we also spend quite a bit of time in this episode talking about his incredibly popular Netflix show called Magic for Humans. And if you have not seen this, Justin's show on Netflix, it is really well done. I'm not overstating it. It's a lot of fun. It's a show for the whole family. And he uses street magic and encounters with regular folks and does just these amazing tricks with social commentary and some other things. So there's a lot of layers to his comedy. There's many layers to his magic. He's one of the nicest people I've met through Laughfest, and I can't wait for you to get into this episode. And as always, be sure to check out Justin's dedicated episode page on the fullexposurepodcast.com website. You'll see portraits I've shot of Justin over the years. You'll see video excerpts of our conversation in his backyard. I need to thank Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn for helping to underwrite these on-location episodes. And this was shot back in October of this year. And we're just getting it out to time with the release of Magic for Humans, which just came out this week, Season 2. And there'll be a Season 3 being released sometime in 2020. So with that, let's get into it. Let's explore the bigger picture with magician, comedian, actor, Justin Willman. The point is, when you have that kind of power, the real power is in restraining it.
That's true. You're a noble man. You're a noble man.
Justin, hey, we're good?
Oh, yeah, we're rolling.
Oh, all right.
good.
Nice. All right, let's get this. Let's light it up.
In the backyard. This is awesome.
I love being at your house. Thank you for having us up here to do this.
Thanks, man.
Let's just break down our history because, I'm just not randomly. It wasn't a random kind of like, hey,
Yeah, we
you
go
don't know
back.
me, but I'm trying to think. It was the first or second year of Laughfest. And you came in, I think you were in a theater out in Holland, which is like a half hour from Grand Rapids, and I
Right.
caught you.
That's where they put the best acts.
Exactly,
The ones
the
they're most
Knickerbocker
excited about.
Theater, I think it is, yeah. And, well, they didn't have a venue that could contain
Yes.
your audience.
That's nice of you
So
to
they're
say.
like, so they're like, we need to give this guy his own city. And then you went out there. But we did a very quick shoot in the JW Marriott. I don't even know how long it lasted. It was probably 10 minutes. But you were great, but you're trying to get out there for sound check or something. So we kept it real quick. And they came out really nice. And
Yeah, I
sent
didn't
them
know
to
what to
you.
expect. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
And fast. Normally, it takes a little while to kind of, I guess, as a subject, feel like you're kind of in the groove and like relaxed.
Takes a
But
minute.
yeah, we kind of clicked right away. I think I sprayed cards everywhere, made a mess.
Yeah, you were tossing them. Yeah, we did make a mess. We did actually that was a lightning fast shoot, and I think we did 3 different setups in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and we got a bunch of picks that I remember when I got them. I was like, oh, I gotta use these. These are
good,
amazing.
yeah. It was fun.
Because as a magician, it's hard to get picks that sum up like the show in a photograph. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this guy's a magician, but also not like that kind of magician.
Exactly.
That's why like having cards says this guy's a magician, but it also says like he's a magician.
Well, I want to come back to the magician entertainer thing because you are different, but I want to let's just put a pin in that for a second. So then 3 years later after that, I think you came back to Laughfest for an 5-year anniversary show.
Yep.
And on that bill was like Kathleen Madigan, Jim Brewer, Jim Costa.
Michael Costa. Sinbad. Jim, yeah,
Jim
exactly.
Brewer. And that was fun. That was for like a gala dinner type of thing. But what were your impressions of Laughfest? Because they really, honestly, that's been one of the best professional relationships I ever had to get. I mean, I just get to meet people like you and do portraits. Sometimes it's really fast. But sometimes we get amazing stuff, and then we stay in contact with people.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Well, I remember feeling like with Laughfest that they were, like, because I've done a lot of comedy festivals that are not well run, and that is like tight, amazing names, all the comics. You hear them talk about how much they love doing it.
Yeah.
The crowds are incredible. It was like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for you, like the lineup's so great, you get access to work with all these
I'm in Grand
incredible
Rapids,
people.
so yeah, I don't, to shoot. I've shot Sinbad now like 4 or 5 times, and other people. Oh, my main key light, dude.
Oh, your main key light. There's my wife Jill, by the way, over
Jill.
there. That's Jill.
Hi, Jill.
This is Brian.
How are you? I should have come in and said hi earlier, but you were busy. All right. We'll catch up in a minute.
How soon do you have to leave? 15? 20? Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted you
Do
to.
you want-
What do you want to? I want to provide clear edit points from my random tangents here. But I don't know if you will still be here when she gets back to say hello. But I wanted to properly introduce you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might be.
But that's
It
her.
just
She
depends how long. I
exists.
mean, we can
She's
hold
real.
till she gets back. No, I know. I mean, we could. It depends
Okay.
on what her. I know you have to go do things.
Yeah. We'll
But
just see how the timing goes.
Yeah, because I would love to do that quick family portrait. It's just the way that we started.
Do you want to text me when you're heading back?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'd love to do the quick portrait. I'd love to just connect on a couple things that you probably already know about with Maddie and my Maddie and stuff like that. So just out of curiosity.
Well, if you guys can hang around until we get back, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get it, but
Text me when you're heading back. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just take a really long time. We'll just keep talking and talking.
He's got his...
It's really... It's going to be intense. It's going to be like therapy.
Yeah. I need it.
Are you in therapy?
Not
Seems
as
like an LA
regularly as
thing.
it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tend to only go to a therapist when it's...
Was that a... That's,
When there's
I just thought
an
that
open
was a
wound.
horrible question.
Are you
just
in
to tell us,
therapy?
Are you in freaking therapy? No. Anyway.
Yeah,
So Laughfest, but talk...
so many of the Laughfest photos, by the way, that you've taken of other comics are so good. Like I get to see them. I don't know. There's something about probably when you get these people who maybe didn't know they were gonna get such a impressive caliber photographer to do a portrait. So they're kind of not in their head about it. It's just kind of happens where you get them with their guard down.
Many times, yeah, I appreciate you saying that, but that does work to my advantage sometimes because they have no expectations, but also sometimes it's to my disadvantage because they don't think about what they're wearing, and maybe maybe they didn't even get advanced the info. They're on the road and they're like, wait, okay, now I got to do this photo. It's a festival photo, so they show up and then they come to the set whether it's backstage or wherever we're shooting, and they're like, oh shit, this is a real deal.
Yeah.
And then they become self-conscious about what they're wearing and what's their makeup like or whatever.
Yeah.
And
But that Rory Scovel shot in his hotel room, so good with the golf club.
I tried to connect with Rory on this trip, but I didn't quite connect. But he's down to shoot whenever. I love Rory; he's a good dude. But yeah, that was fun, and that was the sort of thing was what happened. Like with Rory, the first time I shot him was at Laughfest, and again, didn't expect anything. We send Laughfest, and I send him the photos. He loves them, and then the next time he's back in town, he's like, come up to my suite. I've got my golf clubs. Let's just improv some stuff. And then we got an amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And then Golf Digest just used those.
Oh, really?
I just sent him the files. So he's a huge golfer, but such a huge golfer. He brought his golf clubs to Michigan in March.
Did he play?
I don't think it's possible,
Okay.
but
But just in case.
you never know.
Maybe he was coming from Florida.
Maybe
never
it
know.
was.
Yeah.
But Gilda's Laughfest. So Gilda Radner, do you? That's kind of the feather in the cap of the festival. It raises funds for Gilda's Club, and also just her legacy at SNL. That's why we have so many SNL alum. It's kind of like this bully pulpit that happens, and they want to perform because it's Gilda's Laughfest.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm a Gilda fan just probably from all the best of SNLs.
Yeah.
That wasn't the era of cast that I grew up with.
Right.
I'm not that old.
I am. So I remember the Aykroyds.
Yeah, but I love that time, and I think, it rounds it out. I haven't even taken that into consideration and thinking about how great the Laughfest is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm sure you'll be back at some point.
Yeah.
So this is the 10-year coming up. But it has been a rare opportunity. I'm just this dude in Grand Rapids, and I was able to put my book full of all these great comics and different entertainers, and it really helps me get work outside of Michigan because it's a chicken or egg thing. It's it relates somewhat to what you do. I think you don't get booked for certain gigs until you've done certain kinds of gigs. And so you don't get high-profile people until you have some in your book.
You can't get on TV until you've been on TV.
Exactly.
Yeah, which makes so much sense. Which means that you have to, at some point, lie. That you've been on TV at some point.
I've done that.
Fake it till you make it.
All right, so let's just meander. But I'm really interested because of the TV thing you just mentioned. What was your first really big appearance?
Well, my first appearance, every appearance is really big at the time.
Yeah.
And then looking back, you're like, oh, God, that
felt big.
sucked. But my first appearance was on a show called 30 Seconds to Fame.
Okay.
Which was, I think, in 2001, and it was a Fox show. This was pre-America's Got Talent, but that's what it was. It was like the Gong Show kind of thing. And you had 30 seconds to do something without getting buzzed off.
No big
booed
premise,
off.
no big setup.
No big setup.
You come with the heat.
So I literally, and I went by my stage name of Just Incredible back then.
I know, I remember
So the host was like, here he is, Magic Man, Just Incredible. And I think I did 3 tricks in 30 seconds. Coughed up some cards, made a handkerchief turn into a cane, and made a bird appear, and then 30 seconds was up. So when that aired, that was cool. That
was good,
gave me
especially
that first credit
Yeah.
to put on things. And then I did, I booked a Singular wireless commercial.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's some cheddar coming in.
It was good. Yeah, that was good.
But did they just book you as talent, or was it you as a person, as a magician? Or was it just
Well, I
like,
think for the
hey,
commercial, they wanted a magician, and it was like about rollover minutes. They make your unused minutes reappear the next month. So I was like coughing up cards.
Remember those
magic
days,
wands.
nights and weekends?
Yeah, exactly.
That was a whole nother time.
I literally did my 30 Seconds to Fame set, like while talking, and that was what the commercial was. So it was just me, and it played a lot, so that was good. And then I did a hidden camera magic show for NBC with a bunch of buddies of mine.
Now, were you still, when you were building these, were you doing small venues and things at that time, more like a comic slash magician? I mean, you've always had comedy and
Yeah, I was doing colleges. That was my bread and butter.
Okay.
From like when I moved to LA in 2002, I would do these college conferences,
Yeah.
NACA conferences, where you'd go and you'd schmooze with all the students who would book the stuff. And then you would spend, hopefully, all fall doing, 80 to 100 shows.
Just brought back, was that on Crashing where they did the
Yes.
but then, wasn't there an episode, maybe I'm confusing it, but didn't Pete and his character come to the Magic Castle and you were there? Or was I?
Oh, that was the show Love. on
Love, that's
Netflix.
what it was.
Yes.
Sorry, I was binging a whole bunch of
With
different things.
Gillian Jacobs.
Yeah,
Gillian Jacobs.
that was a great show.
That was a great show.
I really liked it.
That's a great show. That was really cool to
Oh,
do.
that's
that
right.
cameo.
They were on this awkward sort of
Awkward date,
and
I
then
think they
you were
had-
there.
Exactly.
And then
And that was
but
the night they, I think, had sex for the first time. You're welcome.
I know.
Magic's a
That
good
probably happens a
aphrodisiac.
lot at your shows. You know,
Maybe. Yeah.
it's about restraining.
Never
power.
happens to me.
No, I understand. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's a good thing Fergie doesn't come to your shows because it could
I
have
wouldn't
turned
wanna
out differently.
Break up a relationship. It's
Seriously.
true. Yeah.
I know. He's such restraint. So I'm interested in this moment where there ever a TV appearance that you felt my life might be quite different, or it could be such a career booster, that you stood behind the curtain waiting to come out, and you just had that moment like, oh, this is crazy.
Well, I grew up religiously watching The Tonight Show from Johnny Carson days. In fact, like when I, would love Johnny Carson, then my parents told me, he started as a magician, and that's why I was like, oh wow, okay, just connecting those dots, thinking like, oh, magic can lead to anything,
Right.
And then Jay Leno throughout high school and college, I just every night would watch The Tonight Show, study it.
Yeah.
Dreamt of hosting The Tonight Show one day, being a guest on The Tonight Show. I remember I read Jay Leno's biography when I was in high school. He went to Emerson College. So
Yeah.
when I was looking for colleges, I looked at Emerson College.
And that was
that's
the
where
reason.
I went.
So
that's what at least put it on my radar.
But there were so many comics that went to Emerson.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. Why is that?
I feel like it's like, at least when I went there, it's where you went if you couldn't get into NYU. Mm-hmm. And I was waitlisted at NYU, so I went to Emerson. And now I think it's almost the other way around. Like Emerson is like the first choice for a lot of people. It's really hard. It's much harder to get in there now.
I was looking up names, or looking up Emerson, and it's like it's a who's who of comedy. Like Bill Burr went there, and I don't know. There's a whole bunch.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably because it's a little bit of a fringe artsy fartsy school. Like it kind of welcomes people who maybe aren't going to do like the Harvard level of
they're not getting their
grades.
CPA.
They don't have the 4.0 in high school,
Yeah.
To get into NYU and Harvard, but they have talent.
Right.
So and then there's a lot of great improv comedy groups and sketch groups, and you can make stuff, you can shoot video and everything like that. So it was like a good spot.
Yeah. So sorry, I sidetracked you there with Emerson, but so we're leading up to this moment where it's a big thing.
So so obsessed with just Jay Leno, always a big influence, and knowing one day I want to be on the Tonight Show, but also knowing like, man, he never has magicians on.
Right.
Keep hearing he's like not a magic fan. He doesn't like being fooled.
Yeah.
Thinks that magicians
It's too
are trying to
easy to
make him
fool.
stupid or something. And but one of my best friends became an assistant at the Tonight Show for one of the talent bookers, and he would bring him to my show. So it was like over 2 years of this guy kind of being on my radar, becoming friends, and just knowing I was in the back of his mind. And then there was a day in December, I can't remember what year it was, maybe 2003 or 4, something like that, where they had a guest, I think Maria Sharapova, the tennis player, right? Bailed. She didn't want to do a pre-interview, so she bailed the day before.
I thought that story was going a wholly different way.
No, never met her. Glad I didn't, because so the main guest was Hugh Jackman, who was in The Prestige and was going to be in a Houdini musical on Broadway.
Yeah.
So they were like, how about this? We'll have Justin as the B guest, so he doesn't have to do magic for Jay. He can do something with Hugh. And it was like, I got the call the day before. What can you do? I was like, I got it. I'll do this, cup trick, this do as I do, Coca-Cola solo cup thing.
Yep.
And
I've definitely seen this.
Had the beats worked out. It was like already a tight thing. And I remember, and it just all happened so fast. So I'm backstage, like, holy shit, like it's about to happen. And just the nerves and the butterflies, like you feel like you know how nervous you can get. So, and you can't get. Luckily, like, I got as nervous as I knew I could get. I knew I should have been more nervous, but I was able to fly through it. And I remember before I walked on, knowing, like, man, this is something I've always wanted to do. This is like a dream thing. And
that was the theater, the venue. That was the legacy of Carson.
Exactly.
It was the...
Now, doing the Tonight Show didn't have, like, the caveat that it used to have, like with Carson, where if you killed, the next day, everything was different.
Famous,
But I knew, like, as a magician, it's really hard to capture what you do live, like the vibe, how amazed people can be, capture your personality live. It's hard to do that on TV. But that was the first time I had a set, and therefore then had a clip where I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty close to what I'm all about. So I was able to, it all hit hard.
Yeah,
it was
had
funny,
that
it was
interaction.
amazing. Yeah. And Hugh was incredible. It was like just a little perfect storm of the right place at the right time.
I'm sure he was probably generous in as an actor, or like at least in that moment of approaching it as entertainment to help you in that way.
Didn't try to steal the thunder, like any other, Jay was able to sit back and just watch.
Yeah.
So it was just like the perfect storm. So from there, at least for me, it felt like a life-changing moment, but I think it also gave you, that clip to then, you kind of have to use every little opportunity as then, you climb on the back of that to get to the next step and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And then I did it 3 times in a year because that went well.
I'm just pulling up my notes. I'm
pull
not
up notes.
just bored with your
Do
story.
it.
No. But yeah. But then, you go through... I'm also interested, because I think people see now, if they just assume if you're on Netflix and now you're working on the 3rd season of Magic for Humans, that there's just this one trajectory of success, and you're just climbing step after step after step. But like, tell me a little moments and valleys that you've gotten through just as an entertainer, because most of us creative people, I think, are also racked with a lot of doubt, and sometimes you can get in your own head, and I think we battle sort of, and you're also in a hurry. You want things to go quickly and be successful. So, have there been times where you were like, I'm not sure where this is going? Did I run out of gas?
Well, there was a time, like I think in like 2003 or 4, kind of before any of those things hit, and kind of the college touring slowed down a hair, and I was doing kids' birthday parties were like my bread and butter for a while. But I just I kind of like hit a lull where I really did think like, should I move back to St. Louis? Should I do this? Like, I had to borrow money from my parents, more frequently than I ever had. So they kind of were not giving me that, try, no fallback, push through.
They're
they
like,
were
he's
kind
calling
of like,
again.
Maybe
he's
he needs a
calling
fallback.
again. Yeah.
Where I thought about it, and
what would you have done did you have a plan B?
I did not have a... Well, at Emerson, I majored in broadcast journalism. So where they kind of, in that era, train you like to how to make a reel, to pitch to a market, to be a local TV person,
Sure.
and to kind of work your way up, or maybe be the funny weather guy or something. But that's also a really, really hard, competitive field.
Well, yeah. I mean, I still think it is that way today. In our local market, I've known quite a few of the, just local anchors and local story people. And it is. It's a brutal business, especially now because they gutted it. You know, I mean, it's not even what it used to be in a Grand Rapids, West Michigan market. Like they're asking them, they're operating camera. They're going back and editing. They're on a tripod. They're doing these remotes from the side of a
selfie
Blizzard
remotes. Like it's all very
and it's not what it used to be.
No.
And then they have to go back and hack that stuff together and put it on air.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
So it's a good thing that didn't go that way with the Plan B.
I think so.
But I like that you had this sort of singular, like you had some downs, but it sounds like you were not going to get bumped off of that really easily.
No, because I knew I loved doing, magic and comedy, and I knew that, when I have the right setting, like what I do is something that feels different, you know. So you just have to kind of not forget that. And then I know, when I started like trying to come up with, let me try to pitch my own show, which like over the course of 10 years, there was just a lot of pitching and thinking, oh, this one might happen and getting rejected probably 50 times, like different pitches at every different network, just.
Was the rise of some of the other, like David Blaine's and things, was that helpful for Magic, or was like, no, that lane's already taken up and we don't need another thing? How did that approach?
I mean, it goes both ways. Yeah, because Magic is such like, thought of as this little niche thing versus comedy, it's like, no, there's room for a lot of great comedy flavors. With Magic, they kind of think of Magic as the flavor.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like, okay, no, there's one guy,
right.
Or there's two. So it's Chris Angel or Copperfield or
No,
Blaine.
and I think like Magic for Humans feels that way. I've just tried to describe it to people. It's like, well, you remember David Blaine, right? He did street magic for people, but yours is so different. Like it seems unfair to even. There's social commentary in your stuff within the tricks that you're doing, and it's with real people on the street, but it really has this narrative that I think that's what pushes it way over the finish line for me, is because we'll just explain that background about how you've layered in the writing and sort of pre-production something that's more than just like trying to freak people out on the street corner.
Yeah, I mean, because Magic is powerful enough just to stand on its own. Like, hey, come see a trick,
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what everyone else is doing. So I find that Magic is it can be a great metaphor. It can be a great way, like a visual aid to illustrate a bigger point, or it's like a great icebreaker, a little key into a unusual little subculture where, you might be an outsider, except for the fact that Magic is this kind of universal language. It's like the great unifier. Everyone kind of loves Magic. Everyone kind of is amazed by Magic. We're all using the same logic to take it in. Yeah. So it kind of is a way to show this little common thread between different, layers of humanity. So I started to, and this might have been like 4 or 5 years ago, like started to stray away from just doing magic for magic's sake, and always wanted the magic to be about something.
Yeah.
So like I pitched Comedy Central a pilot called Sleight of Mouth, which is based on this like a little late night magic talk show that I did in the back of a comic book shop for a year, and then they didn't pick it up, but they aired it as a special, which was nice. And that pilot episode was kind of like about technology, so it was kind of themed. And it was a discovery for me to, as opposed to just like, oh, what's all the best magic I can do in a half hour? It's by giving myself a parameter, like, no, it has to be about this, about technology. It actually was much easier to write the magic, you know? And I'm sure in comedy that's the same way. If someone says, what's going on in my life, what do I want to say?
Yeah.
And then I pitched him another pilot it was called And Justin for All, and it was like solving America's political problems with magic, which also was fun and interesting to write, and it felt like it hadn't been done like that before. Like
for sure.
Walking through Trump's wall. And, talking about the drought and this. But then it also, I'm not, I care a lot about politics and the state of our world, but I'm not like the best mouthpiece for that. There's so many other people you get in that realm. You're competing with Colbert and John Oliver and Samantha Bee and Jon Stewart.
They have a whole team to slay that every day.
Yeah, and
that
best.
Would be hard to do intermittently. You're also really time stamping that material.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of what you've done, at least recently with that stuff, it's more timeless, It has a lot longer shelf life as entertainment.
Well, for me, like the big discovery was, like I would alienate half of my fan base or half of the viewers almost regardless of how divisive I thought it was. If I'm doing something about global warming,
Yeah.
you are now tapping into a predisposed
Kind of
opinion.
feedback, because I have that problem too. I mean, obviously, I want to work with everybody. I don't want to work with people that, have radically damaging views to people that I think, or to groups or anything like that. But I kind of have to keep myself a little bit in check.
Yeah.
I think most people know kind of intuitively where I am on the spectrum. I meant the political spectrum. But you have to walk that line. It's a business. You don't want to offend people, and you don't want to wear it so outwardly that people are like, well, screw this guy. I'm not going to that show.
Well, I found that, like, especially when we started Magic for Humans, like, we live in a world where there's so much of that commentary that people needed an escape. And magic is like the perfect escapism. You're escaping from the rules of the universe, like the laws of physics. You're kind of escaping from all that. So to even, like, to strip away any of the political divisiveness, it means that it's just like a feel-good thing, like wholesome without even intending to be wholesome. Like, the show's a family-friendly show-ish, but there's still, like, a lot of edgy stuff in there. But just because there's no cussing and because there's no talk of the stressful things in the world, like, it really feels like a show that they can someone could watch with their grandparent or their kids or anything. And that felt really, really good when I would then go tour and people would tell me, like, oh, what the show meant to me. Like, I was able to, I got through a hard time by watching the show, or, I had some really amazing laughs with, my family members who I never get to watch a thing with.
Yeah.
That felt really, really special. And then I was like, oh, that's what we need now.
Yeah.
So now I try to stray away from the things that are dated or are just inherently
because
icky.
I think icky, and not that the subject that you're trying to, the social commentary you're trying to make is wrong. And also, I think we have every landscaper is probably within five.
Yeah, there's a lot of landscape
yard.
going on. We picked a good day. Tuesday in the neighborhood.
I think it's good. I'm trying not
The
to
planes are
pick
crop
up.
dusting.
Yes. It's just like a war zone of agriculture around here. I didn't know Studio City was this...
such a lush needing to be macheted.
We're going to plow forward because I think...
It's real.
I think it's... we're on the mics, so I don't have much gain in it. So we were talking about just that shifting from politics. Well, again, and to underscore your point, it's just that your shows are an escape from some of those things that might have pissed you off all day.
Yes.
Especially in political stuff. And at the end of the day, you're one person. You have a big influence within your fan base. But most people are entrenched in their own ideas anyway.
Yes.
And maybe I'm speaking alongside with you. Maybe speaking with it. I'm not the right forum to, like, change people's minds. And if I'm just venting, it's probably just gonna, like, end up not helping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to. I'll give the people who agree with me will be like, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's nice getting the enthusiasm of people who agree with you when you're trying to make a statement, and some of the clips that I put up from, like, the political pilot that I did, did get a lot of, co-signing the message from the bubble, you know. Yeah. But I don't think it was...
chamber.
Exactly. I don't think it was changing minds,
and
it wasn't providing an escape, it was riling people up in the comment section, and I don't want fans bickering with each other.
That's so exhausting anyway, to moderate. And then sometimes you can put out something really intentionally trying to just underscore something that is so should be obvious to human beings on the planet, like how we're supposed to treat each other. And then someone will come in from left field and you're like, I don't even know what a human is anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get that. So, well, anyway, but I've admired sort of your approach in when you did dabble in those things, because you did still use forms of your entertainment and magic to illustrate those social points. But magic, what for season 3? How has have you adapted season to season? Kind of what is sort of do you think about themes for the season, or are you just thinking about...
Well, season 2 that comes out in December, a lot has happened from when season 1 and 2 happened. And I also found that, like, the feedback from season 1 is the bits that we would do that would resonate and would get people, that would, like, connect with people were the bits that feel like they are genuinely driven by a curiosity or something autobiographical. So I leaned into them more in the new season. I had a son since then, so he's 10 months old, so he's kind of a big part of the POV with how I, look into these themes. We've got a Christmas special, which is fun, so that's just kind of a fun, everyone loves Christmas. If you don't, then we make fun of the things that hopefully, bother you about Christmas.
Right.
And then, like when we're writing the show, we'll come up with themes that are interesting, and then separate from those, we'll say, okay, let's write a bunch of bits, and then we'll kind of connect those dots.
Right.
And sometimes things just don't connect to a theme, and they fall to the wayside. But
curious on the production side, like how many people are helping you with that show? You're executive producing, and then you have some help with writing. So how tight is your unit? So
I'm executive producing, and then I've got 3 guys who are my co-EPs, who are kind of like my core brain trust.
Yeah.
Stuart McLeod, who's a brilliant magician and also a very, very funny comedy writer. And then 2 comedy writers, David Deneen Porter and Daniel Kino. Daniel Kino's a stand-up who I've known for 20 years.
Oh,
and he's, really good at helping me hone kind of my voice and economy of words and staying true to kind of what premise we were setting out to tackle to begin with. And then for the writing process...
Sorry to cut you off, but I just want to hit this, is that it must be really nice to have someone that can trust with that perspective, because I think even I'm relating your performance and how you write and perform, kind of like editing photos, or how you can get lost in it and you sort of lose an outside perspective. To just
100%.
have somebody come in and like just hack away at what you did, but it's somebody that you trust and is cultivating. Is that who that guy is?
That's who that guy is.
Yeah.
And that's in the pre-process, the while we're doing it, and then the editing process is a whole different thing. Like now that I'm editing the 3rd season, like I try to disconnect that guy that's on the screen that we're hacking away at is even me.
Yeah.
And so that I can be very harsh and objective, you know. And I don't like that guy a lot of times. You know? Like I just, I hate editing. Justin hates the choices that shooting Justin made or that writing Justin made.
Because you always handcuff yourself somewhere. It's like,
exactly.
If my body had been just 5 degrees more open to camera, it would have slayed.
Exactly. There's a lot of things that are almost great that can't make it.
Is it hard to direct? Like, I mean, I know you're not... that must be... I'm thinking now as I'm putting my videographer/director's cap on, when I'm thinking about your episodes of Magic for Humans, it's got to be hard to direct and block those shots in a way to make sure the audience has the full aha moment along with you.
It's really hard. Like,
and you're on the road, like you're
running and gunning.
You're running and gunning.
Yeah.
It's a pretty...
Well, like learning how to direct and shoot magic is an interesting skill that, very few people can, even a great director, there's certain rules you have to ditch, like things that you normally do as a director. No, this would look right. This is intuitive. But with magic, you kind of can't cut.
Yeah.
You have to let the whole tricks play out.
Yeah.
So therefore, I need to make sure that I don't leave a bunch of air in the scene, because I'll just hate myself in the edit.
Yeah. Because if you tighten up, then people accuse you of not that people don't know. I mean, most people should know that it's not a documentary of like you actually did. Like they don't think you did the trick. Like there were some other editing tricks outside of the magic.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part,
because people are so savvy, and we don't use like CGI or like cheap hiding stuff under a cut. We work hard to make the magic really good. We have to make sure that we get credit for that, because cuts take you out of it, And Adam Franklin, who directed season 1 and 2, I'd shot a bunch of stuff with him over the past many, many years. So trusting him is really, really important. And for him to know kind of how to command the shots and set them up.
Well, and he was up to speed a lot faster than someone if you had started fresh and go, okay, well, here we are. We're going to start shooting season 3. And
Exactly.
you hadn't worked with them tomorrow.
Exactly.
It would have been a real.
Well, that's what we had to do
here.
because we did 2 seasons at the same time. We had to find a new director for season 3 because Adam was cutting season 2.
Got it.
And this guy Dave Page, who we got, is fantastic.
Yeah.
So he kind of dove in. He had to
learning
lean
curve.
on us and kind of adapt to that learning curve and trust us to guide him through. He came from Nathan For You. He would produce Nathan For You, which is kind of a similar. It's kind of Nathan For You I think of as kind of a magic show because they kind of are creating this comedic illusion, and a lot of it comes from just you can have the best trick, but if the person you're doing it to doesn't feel real or doesn't react, like the best part of the show when we screen them, we did a screening last night on some rough cuts, like what people love because they love to see a good trick, but they need to see the person in scene react as if they saw the same thing that you did as a viewer.
Right.
And when they then are like amazed and freaking out and you're seeing their guard come down and having a real human reaction, it connects those dots. It makes you appreciate the trick, appreciate the fact that you're
Well, that's what
witnessing
connects.
it.
That's what why I think that show is so effective is in that moment the audience that's looking on their phone or a tablet or a 80-inch screen TV, it doesn't matter. They're as part of the gig. They're imagining what they would have done, what their reaction would have been, and it just gives you that first-person perspective that you don't. But yeah, how does it feel to have like slay on a trick, and this person that's cast to, or that you encountered that and just lays an egg and doesn't add anything to it.
It sucks.
So then you're like, you got to go find somebody else.
Because it's
to do it.
fishing. You're really fishing. You're like laying this juicy bait, and sometimes you catch a big one. Sometimes they just get away. So that's why we have to. And our shooting schedule is so tight. I'd love to shoot one trick all day long.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, we have time to try this for 2 people.
Right.
Hopefully one of them's great.
Right.
And in the edit, like a lot just doesn't make it. It's hard.
That's so volume. So what does it take? Again, I don't want to get too much in the weeds of the production. So when you've written an episode, do you approach it as do you write out the whole season and then you schedule production days around getting everything you've done for the season, or do you kind of approach it episode by episode?
We will. So like when we did season 2, we wrote out 7 episode themes. Christmas, fake. I really like the idea of doing an episode about fake, just because people are so skeptical about magic.
Yeah.
You do the best trick, and the YouTube comment, someone will comment fake.
Yeah.
They're in on it, CGI. So we kind of did an episode that explored that.
Yeah.
An episode about fatherhood, an episode about communication. How we kind of these days we don't talk to one another unless you're doing a podcast.
Right.
An episode about it all blurs together.
Yeah.
Time, and I got really autobiographical this season. Like I did a thing, and my mom has Alzheimer's.
No.
And I thought, what says magic and comedy like doing something about Alzheimer's?
Right.
How do I tackle that? That
Right,
was a good
exactly.
challenge, and that turned out to be my favorite part of the series. That closes it out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I wanted to do a show that is not like is self-indulgent, like boy, it's just all about him, but like uses my POV into hopefully exploring things that people care about. So we laid out 7 episodes. In each episode, maybe like 7 or 8 segments, and kind of scripts for those, but you don't know how it's going to go in the day, but kind of like here's the point we're trying to make, or at least the idea we're trying to explore.
Yeah.
And then those end up, once they try to produce the locations and how we're going to pull that off, or is the magic going to come through, those end up, a couple fall through the cracks. You have 6 segments per episode that you set out to shoot, and we kind of don't shoot it one episode at a time. It's kind of all a big hodgepodge.
Did you have, you mentioned fatherhood, and Jackson, who I've seen here this morning setting up, that kid he's a rock star. He's a beautiful boy.
He's a cute dude.
He is very cute. And so in what ways, without being the cheesy setup questions, how's fatherhood changed you, but how's it more specifically worked its way into your work?
Well, I feel like I'm a workaholic. I always have been. So even before I had a kid, like it was a balancing act in marriage to, maintain.
Dial it down.
Because I don't have like a job where I clock in and clock out. Like I'm thinking about it all day, every day, because my job is also my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Which means
I feel
like
the same way
fun.
too. Yeah. We're
I think
lucky
I'm just
that
having
way.
fun, but it's also work, So you got to kind of
Well,
not
I don't
talk
think
about that.
most. I mean, if you find that sweet spot of loving what you're doing, and it is your life, and it's also your passion, it is hard to shut it down because you can just keep working, and
Yeah.
it's fun. And I do try to balance that. Some of it's work, and you just can't have to stay ahead. It's just grunt work to stay ahead of the workload that I have in terms of like shoot, edit, deliver, shoot, edit, deliver. But at least I'm able to do it, and I'm not punching a clock for anybody but myself. And have you ever had a regular job?
I was a waiter for a summer.
I think
during
everyone
college.
should be
Gotta
in
be
the
a
food
waiter.
ser- at least once.
I tap back into that all the time.
I do too.
Yeah.
All my girls have worked. My two older girls, Hannah and Maddie, they're 20 and 18, and I've made them work in food service and serving because you don't want to be that idiot customer.
And you appreciate the side work that you have to do before your shift or after your shift, just to realize that in life, like what you make money, like the show, I make money go doing a gig, but like you're getting paid for that hour, but then like the 100 hours that you did to kind of prepare for that you weren't getting paid for. It kind of lets you
Or your
balance out the glamour.
Or your 50,000 hours you've been doing since you were 12.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
I mean, that's where your value is.
But having a son now, or just having a child now, I think I've learned to maximize the time where I'm like, okay, I'm here to work, and I, light up and I try to bang that out and just focus on that so that I can then feel like I've gotten enough done in a day so I can turn it off. And
it does
be
kind of
bad.
force structure into your world because all of a sudden you're up at times you weren't maybe up, didn't have to be up before.
Yep.
Or, now you're living around the kids' routines, but you're still slotting and ducking and weaving where you can work, best time to take meetings, etc.
it makes work more, like after I got married, I felt more, the work was more enriching because I felt like, okay, I'm now, all the work and the hard work is to build a life for me and my wife, and then now it's to, build a life and a structure for him. So it kind of makes the work feel less, like, because it's an ego business. So sometimes it can feel like, oh gosh, like it's just, am I working for a higher good or just for ego? So now it feels like a much greater higher good. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be kind of empty, I think. Not that people can do it wrong, but I guess it rounds you out a little bit more when, at the end of the day, you're building something that isn't just for yourself. There's structure and parameters around it that benefits lots of different people, and even like your staff and people that are partners on your business partners
it's true.
and things.
That's true. It's
cool.
it's a cool opportunity for a lot of writers and
Well, you
magic
mentioned
people.
Jill and getting married. You guys do a lot around diabetes and specifically type 1 diabetes.
Yes.
And my Maddie, we connect. Maybe that's how. There was one. I don't even know when we talked about it. It might have been in the last. Actually, it was when I was in LA last year.
when we
just shot last year downtown.
Yes.
And we didn't do that other than any other reason than it would be fun. I was in town and I said, do you want to do some stuff? And we did it. But you guys had been posting more. You had gotten married, and I noticed that Jill has an insulin pump and some things just BTS, of your life that I've seen on Instagram. And I was like, wow, she's got type 1. And then we started talking in the car, and you knew all about pumps and like CGMs and all this other stuff. But what is it like? I'm just curious how much, because Maddie's 18 now, and I'm just thinking like, Jill had a baby, so how much was the type 1 diabetes a concern throughout the pregnancy?
Huge. It was a huge part. I mean, even before the pregnancy, obviously, knowing very little about what even type 1 is.
Yeah.
Like you get this crash course and you realize, oh man, like it's crazy how, first off, type 1 and type 2, so different, shouldn't even be called the same thing, The type
That's
1
a real.
being an
That's a real
autoimmune
shame.
It's a real shame, and
because I find myself talking about it and explaining what Maddie has as a type 1 diabetic, and you say diabetic, and 98% of the world just thinks of one type of
Right.
type 2, and which is not at all the same disease.
Did she eat a lot of sugar?
Yeah.
Did
She inactive.
Did she used
not
to
active enough?
be heavier or something?
Yeah.
It's like all these misconceptions.
Yeah. Well, I'll tee it up for the audience.
Yeah.
So it's just type 1 is when the body somehow has an autoimmune reaction. It kills off the insulin-making capability of the pancreas, and now you're insulin dependent, and you have no way, without insulin artificially coming into your body, you have no way to carry and break down carbohydrates and feed your cells carbohydrates.
Yes.
And so that's the bridge of it. So the result of it is many kids are doing 8, 10, 12 shots, 20 shots a day. Some of them are on insulin pumps now, which is a great technology, but also the real shitty thing about that disease is you never get a break from it. As the person, but also as a parent, you have to they have to know a lot about carbohydrates. They have to be able to calculate.
You're doing math all the time.
They're doing math
Yeah.
100% all the time. Okay, I just ate a muffin.
Right.
All right, that's probably 53 carbs.
Yeah.
Then giving yourself the appropriate amount of insulin to assimilate into your body 53 carbs of sugar. And it's relentless. And if you go up too high, it's horrible for your health. And if you go too low, it's extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
So in that context, that's type 1 diabetes. But for Jill and traveling that pregnancy path, and you got to just talk about getting up to speed. When did you know? I mean, you started dating
on our
her?
first date, she showed me her pump.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. Like, because it's like this.
Had you heard of it?
Yeah, my very first show I did when I was 13 as a kid in St. Louis, Missouri, was for the juvenile diabetes Halloween party.
Get out of here.
Very first gig I ever did. So that was like at least very young, getting the elevator pitch of what type 1 diabetes is. So
you had
I
at
kind
least
of
had
knew
a
that.
snapshot.
A little bit, yeah. And then I didn't know any. Actually, my godmother had type 1 diabetes. And she passed away from breast cancer, but I do remember kind of her with the pen and these injections and everything like that. So I at least knew what it was all about. So for her, it was amazing seeing how managed she had it. Like she was diagnosed at 18, which is later than most.
This is
and then,
your aunt or Jill?
For Jill,
Jill at
so
18.
Jill at 18,
and my Maddie was diagnosed at 4.
Wow.
So there's barely a period that she knows in her memory now. That
before that.
Yeah, she does remember a little bit. But anyway,
but seeing like it's just this ball and chain. She's a cyborg. She's got this. This thing that she has to think about all the time, and it's so exhausting. And obviously, as soon as you think you've got your equations down, your body kind of changes, and now it needs more insulin, or maybe it needs less, and you have to kind of adjust. And everything you knew is
you might
now
have
flipped
insulin that
upside down.
fails. When we travel a lot, it seems like whenever we travel with insulin, we always bring extra because those bottles, for whatever reason, they'll fail, and all of a sudden you can't get your numbers down.
Right.
And then,
or a port, kind of do a new injection port, and it's just not soaking in there.
Yeah.
And so, and as a husband and a partner, it affects, it has a huge mood effect. Sometimes if it's too low, or it took me a while to really understand. Like when she says that we need to eat, or I need a snack, you better do it now because or no one's going to be happy.
Right.
And trying to be supportive of all those things is a big learning curve, and to understand that there are these.
I have a lot of
elements.
empathy for that because you can't fix it. You're living with it. You're trying to do everything you can for your partner. In my case, my daughter, and you and your wife. But it's a bit of a duck and weave, sort of like, well, what's happening today? And as a guy, you can just get blindsided anyway by marriage and your relationship, and you sometimes just figure out. How am I relating? How are we relating today as a couple? But then if there's this other factor, it can be, you can take a minute to figure out what's going on.
It's hard because I can never know how it feels
to
go low or to just have to think about this. Because I think healthy people so take for granted, just eat what you want and your body kind of adjusts,
Right.
They're just thinking about, am I gonna gain weight or lose weight? But there's all these extra, just what she has to compute all the time, every day. is insane, and so that's running. So I've learned the best thing I can do is to have empathy and to be of service, and those are the ways that we can kind of connect and bond by doing literally the least that I can do, which is just drop everything and go grab some candy or go grab some Smarties or get some juice. Getting pregnant, like it automatically made her a high-risk pregnancy. So the good news is that we were able to, we had to go to the doctor once a week. So like we're kind of feel very, very well taken care of with our checkups and everything. And carrying a baby changes all the computations.
I can't imagine. I'm sure it wreaks havoc on managed diabetes and trying to keep your glucose range within target.
And she had to get her A1C down, which is like your 3-month average or 1-month average. You had to get that way down, even just to get the green light that okay, you can get pregnant now. Really? So, but she got through. I mean, the little dude's like a miracle baby. It was. There were other complications along the way, but I think the fact that we were so like on a regular basis with these amazing doctors was nice.
Yeah. That's awesome. But that's led to you guys. I don't know if it's anything consistent, but I know there's times you're doing shows for juvenile diabetes and for other entities. But like, is there something consistently that you're working with, or is it just like, hey, I'll do shows here? And
I've hosted a bunch of the galas for JDRF in LA, and want to do more. Like Jill and I both want to do more. We kind of got involved, and she was doing some mentoring and outreach because I think the mentoring is really important because when you're a young kid, a young boy or a girl, like for Jill to be able to mentor a young girl who was recently diagnosed, just so they can see what their future looks like, and then it's not as scary as you think, and that you can do everything you want.
And just vent in that way that you were saying earlier. I don't know what it feels like to have that. So to actually talk to somebody who's having those, they know they are walking in the same pair of shoes in a sense of with that disease that mentoring would be massive for sure.
And there's all these type 1 diabetes pregnancy support groups on Facebook that Jill is really, really involved with, and I think all of that really helps to feel like you're not alone.
That's great.
All
right, let's do.
There's all these mosquitoes that are new. It's a new thing in Los Angeles. We didn't used to have mosquitoes. Seriously, and now they're everywhere.
When we were up at Carter and Amy's house in Malibu, the fires were blowing out, and so we had a lot of ash. But also, for some reason, the bugs were all coming down from the mountain, and we had just bugs everywhere, like it just swarming.
Like biting bugs?
I don't know what kind of bugs were they, Mark. Do you even know? I don't know. All right, man, we are cruising through this. I've got two things I kind of wanted to cover. So you're from the Midwest. You're from Missouri.
Yep.
Flyover country.
Yeah.
We're in Michigan. I get my dander up about that.
It's a good hub in St. Louis, used to be at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, you've been out here. Do you feel more like a Missourian or a Californian, or is it?
This December I will have lived in LA for 18 years, and I lived in St. Louis for 18 years before I went off to college. And that time flies. It's crazy because it really, when you because there's no seasons, it all blurs together.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time thinking of how many years ago things were. And I just kind of think of like, okay, I was in that apartment. It doesn't compute as 18 years.
Wow.
Because I just still feel like a new guy in town, but now I'm like an old guy in town.
Yeah.
I still feel like a Missourian.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the longer I'm in LA, the more I feel like I need to cling and reconnect with being a real person from a real place as much as possible. Because that's what you want to tap into.
What are some of those idiosyncrasies about LA that sort of make you? I know one might be the industry itself. But, like, what sort of feels disorienting? You mentioned the weather, and that's one thing I've never really considered. I loved coming out here, especially in the winter. But I hadn't really thought about how disorienting it might be if I were to live here for a long time, and every day is 72 to 80 degrees and sunny. And it's Groundhog Day all over again in terms of weather.
Yeah. Like, my mood is often very affected by the weather. So... You take it for granted a little bit, but it is kind of a little, uplifting, feels good. However, when I travel, and I get to witness all the seasons, I do think there's something I'm missing about the passage of time and really appreciating a beautiful sunny day and maybe maximizing a really, really crappy weather day to just to kind of, I don't know, have these ebbs and flows. And, you kind of need a cloudy day for introspection.
Well, just to recalibrate your thinking about needing those. In Grand Rapids, I think we have 90 to 100 days of sunshine a year.
Yeah.
And that includes winter. So when you have 200 days, 240 days or whatever it is of overcast or rain, you're like, but I do like it though. I'm not complaining. I do like, I like the seasons, and I like winter to a point, although it's getting harder now. I don't know if it's age. I don't know. I wouldn't chalk it up to age. Maybe it's just like, I get to travel quite a bit.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't have to do all the months of winter. Be nice to maybe not have to do all of them.
Be a snowbird.
There's no extra award for toughing out 4 months of snow and cold, 5 sometimes.
There's not, but I don't need that award if there is one. I will say, like, in LA, because it is so, it's where the entertainment industry is. Like, for me, I just love kind of being in a city with people who are all, in that same business, but doing such different little facets. And I think it very much prevents complacency, I kind of like being, a little fish in a big pond, it kind of just keeps that fire in your belly.
Yeah.
A lot of people are maybe like, oh, I don't want to raise my kids here. But I think, like we moved to this neighborhood to have a really great school district. And I'm really lucky that all my friends who I went to college with and moved out here and kind of set up life out here. So it really does, it does feel like home.
I think having those authentic connections that are from 15, 18 years ago, like those are people that knew you before, they know you now. Like they can check you on almost anything because, you were in a dorm together at college or whatever. And those kind of lifelong relationships to me is like when you have somebody that you know since sometimes maybe 5 or 6 years old, those are people there's just that shorthand that is so special. And it's different than maybe somebody you met 3 years ago, but you're kind of tight with.
Yeah. It's really important to get your balls busted. Like it really is. That's so therapeutic. So just going out and just, being treated like the 19-year-old idiot you were, those are people who know you as that. It's really good.
It is good. And it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're not helpless. You have ammo too.
Yes.
So that's cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
Last thing I really wanted to ask you about is I'm sort of really taken with Hollywood iconic history and Chateau Marmont and like those sort of things where lots of things have happened and they're just still there and they're kind of awesome, but it's very kind of like this stuff. But the Magic Castle is kind of a mysterious place to me. I've never been there. I haven't seen a show there. I know it's open, there are shows you can buy tickets obviously and go there. But tell me about the Magic Castle, just quickly a snapshot of what that is and what it is to be part of it, and is there another level of participation as a magician that you have there that other people have?
Yeah, so the Magic Castle is like it's like the clubhouse for the organization known as the Academy of Magical Arts, and it's a 100-year-old mansion that's been turned into a kind of a members-only nightclub. In the 50s or the early 60s, it was turned into the Magic Castle, and it's sits high on a hill overlooking Hollywood. Like it's the only thing in the world like it, where it is a well-regarded, very high esteemed place associated with magic, where you have to be a magician to be a member, and then if you're not a magician to go, you need to be a guest of a member, and got a strict dress code, and once you're inside, it's kind of like a trip back to this Cary Grant era Hollywood.
Sure,
it's very authentic in the decor, and it's there's multiple showrooms and bars and a restaurant, and it I've always kind of fantasized about this place as a kid magician growing up in St. Louis. I read about it in all these, scour these old magic magazines, from the 60s and the 70s, and just read about this place. And where all the best magicians would perform. And then when I came out to LA with my parents when I was 13, we went. You have to be 21 to get in. I didn't know that. So I sent them in to go see my mentor who was performing that week. I waited in the car.
Really?
In the parking lot.
How defeating was
Cried
that?
and fell asleep. It was,
Really?
yeah, defeating.
What was going through your mind when you couldn't
Well,
get
I was
in
so
and they got to see the show?
I was in the car in a suit. 14 years old, just crying.
That had to shape you. And I'm just, the comedy of that in some respect, of 14-year-old Justin in a suit. The time of his life is happening just through those doors, and you have to sit in a car and wait for your parents.
Not old enough, yeah. But I insisted that they go in and go have a drink, go see a show, roam around, come tell me all about it.
Sure.
And they did, which is great. And then I think we went that weekend then for brunch. You can get in for brunch. That's when minors are allowed in.
Got it.
And I take for it's interesting because it's been a part of my life for so long. When I first moved to LA now 18 years ago, I auditioned to become a member, and I think you go through these phases where you're kind of like, okay, I'm a professional. It's like very, very incredible at first, and then you kind of resent it a little bit. Whenever I tell anybody I'm a magician in LA, they ask me about this place. Like, I don't need the Magic Castle. Come on,
right?
You kind of shove it away, and then. In recent years, I've re-embraced it as this, just this rare, beautiful mecca that it is, because magicians don't have a home other than this place. You know, other cities don't have this kind of thing,
right?
Where magicians are the gods, in these walls, and they book all these great magicians from all over the world, and sometimes there's some duds mixed in there, and sometimes there's some cheesy stuff, like the exact kind of thing that I don't. I sometimes get a little riled up because I know that when people go there, this might be the only magician they see in person for a decade.
Right.
And I want everything they see to serve the art form. And sometimes there's things that, are cringy or eye-rolling. But
well, I mean, we went to I like to go to the Comedy Store when I'm here, try to catch a show. But, those, you're seeing 12 to 15 acts. There's some uneven ones in there.
Yeah, sure.
And they're also experimenting and trying new material. They're developing stuff in 10 to 15 minutes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, but I understand if it's that's your opportunity to see magic, and that's what, if the takeaway is kind of wrong or meh, then that you sort of feel that, ugh.
Yeah. But it is such a special gift. It's such a special place. Because magic is this subculture. It's this subset of entertainment that, by design, you kind of are kept from knowing too much about it.
Yeah.
But it's not big enough to be like the comedy world where there's comedy clubs all over the place. It's not an art form that, at least right now, can support that many venues.
Yeah.
So it is so special, and because of its history, so iconic.
Yeah, it's in your backyard, basically.
Yeah, and it's right here.
Yeah.
It's right here. I should go more often. I only make it up there once a month.
I know you probably get asked this all the time, but within that network of magicians there, do you guys talk shop a lot, talk techniques and how you develop tricks, or is it kind of all keeping things close to the vest?
No, magicians very much will share in session, and kind of any question is... we have magic conventions. The Magic Castle is more of kind of the night out. There's some kind of comparing of notes, but we have magic conventions where it's just pure hang, talking shop, catching up, pure love, brotherhood, sisterhood kind of thing. You can go to there's a magic convention in Vegas every year called Magic Live, which is kind of a big one. And you'll, as a kid who maybe started magic last week, you can get in and you can meet David Blaine, who's wandering around, David Copperfield pop in, the best magicians. Oh, there's Penn, I don't know any other subculture where you can meet, or industry where you can walk into a convention having done it a week and happen to shake hands and meet the titans.
The icons.
Yeah. So that's really, really special. And I've got my core group who I kind of bounce ideas off of and jam with and have a shorthand lingo with. And I find it to be much more of a sharing community than, comedy often has the same thing, but gets this flip side where, trash talking and negativity and jealousy.
And I don't know if it's the same. I mean, obviously, there's always there's always clap back on anyone who's might use lines or material that they've heard other comics perform. That's a no-fly zone. But like in terms of magic, and again, this might be a layer in the weeds because I don't really know much about that magic culture in terms of, can you pay an homage and do a trick that someone else developed and you learned, and then you have how do you feel if you've come up with something entirely unique and Willman-esque, and then someone might perform it? Is that an issue within the industry?
It's an issue because, like with comedy, it's about the words coming out of your mouth. And, there are, there's ways to talk about the same topic in a fresh way where no one will say that that's derivative,
Sure.
But with magic, you might do a totally fresh presentation of a trick that is similar to something somebody else did. Or there's classics,
Sure.
There's certain pieces of magic that are totally on limits.
Yeah.
And then there's other things that are off limits.
Yeah.
And what makes something on limits and off limits might be a little twist, or instead of doing it with a lemon, it's with an apple, like these little things. So the line of where it becomes theft or it's open for business is always moving. So I've been accused of stealing things or doing things that some magician, got riled up by. I've gotten really upset and riled up by other people doing things. I think it's an evolving process where it's harder because lately when I might do a trick or put something in the show, it gets because of the series and the tour, like it gets a lot of eyeballs on it.
Yeah.
So it gets maybe scrutinized a little harder, and so I have to work really, really hard to make everything that I do feel fresh and unique.
Yeah.
And and you used to be able to do the same act your whole career, and now kind of I need to come up with a new hour.
Well, that's the challenge of the show. So as we're sort of ramping down this interview, let's get back to Be More Human. It's going to release. Well, I'm more interested right now to continue this thread, which is just the idea of constantly challenging yourself and having 5 or 6 things every episode that are like kind of, magic tricks, and to keep coming up with that volume of kind of, and then be able to execute them in a way that make it on the show and are effective and great entertainment and also make you think.
Yeah.
How do you stay in the zone of just the creativity and just kind of grinding through like, all right, does it ever feel like drudgery? You're like, oh my God, I gotta come up with 5 more things.
It is, because sometimes like you'll hit a streak and you'll be like, oh, this bit's great because the tricks, the ideas keep flowing in. And other times it's really, really tough, and that it's going to be worth it when you crack the nut, whatever it's going to be. I like to take, classics of magic. Like there's only so many principles and tricks. Occasionally something fresh will come out, but most of the time it's like doing a classic of magic, but doing it about a thing that makes it new. So like, like with the marshmallow test with the kids, it's the cups and balls trick. A ball goes under a cup, it disappears, it reappears. Yeah. But doing it with a marshmallow in a cup, now it's not just about the trick, it's about this whole new thing. So it feels like it's brand new, even though that one little trick part of it is based on a classic that, is in all the books and is on limits, the classic stage trick, draping a cloth over somebody, whisking it away, and they're gone, by incorporating that as a convincer and the invisible man thing, using it as a way to convince a dude that I just made somebody else invisible. It kind of just becomes a little tool in it. And those are satisfying to me. Yeah. And I feel like those get a lot of respect from other magicians because you're kind of taking what's what everyone has had access to, and anybody could do, but doing it now in a way that makes it, one of a kind. That's fun for me. Yeah. But yeah, coming up with magic is really, really hard, which is why it's really great when you pull it off. Yeah. Because there's so many factors that make something either work or not work.
And I think it's there's a lot more at stake, to me at least, it feels, than like writing a good song. I mean, like if you have a mediocre trick, it's going to be mediocre, or at least, you know what I mean? Like the standard, I think, for why I find you amazing is just that the standard is so high and unique, but you really can't have kind of like, you can't really phone it in because people are watching and they're waiting. That part of the entertainment is trying to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah. And so we were lucky with the first season of the show to set I think, a bar of, excellence with the writing and the magic that now we have to match it or surpass it.
Yeah.
And, it's a
grind.
It's really hard to keep, pulling off something that feels like you haven't seen that before.
Right.
And also, we don't know how you did that.
Yeah. When does the show start? As of now, I think it's the 15th of October, and season 2 is coming out.
Season 2 is coming out December 6th.
On Netflix, of course. And
I'm starting to tour again now that the edit's winding down. I'm going to now try to work on a bunch of new live stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fun. Well, I can't thank you enough. It's been great. We sort of flipped the premise of the show.
Didn't break the phone, though. You didn't break it, right?
Okay,
That's
so
good. Did you
I
break
got
the
so
camera?
excited.
No.
I'll cue that up again because I'm an idiot.
So many mosquito bites.
So we're gonna flip the switch on the concept. Normally we do the portrait first, then sit down.
Yes.
But out here in LA, it's been reversed a lot.
I like it.
But I can't thank you enough. I've really appreciated your, sort of. I think we've become friends. Obviously, we wouldn't have done this over time, but it's been so fun to collaborate with you. You've always returned little messages, and we've gotten some legs out of the photography that we've done, and it's been cool to see you be able to deploy that in a way that you like, because it is representative of who you are. So if it's something we collaborated on and it sees the light of day, I think maybe I did it.
Well, thanks for always being so generous with your time, and then generous with the use of those shots, because it's been fun.
It's fun to see him go out.
Yeah,
and it's especially generous for you to invite us to your home in Studio City. It's a really beautiful place.
Thank you.
You have a beautiful family.
Thank you.
And wish you the best of luck. But I will definitely be running you down again in LA, because now I feel like
should bring Fergie over
maybe
sometime.
I'll bring. There's a good closer. Fergie. I'll bring Fergie.
Bring Fergie back.
Don't tell my wife.
I won't.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye.
What a great time that was with Justin in Studio City at his house. Again, thank you to Justin for hosting us and allowing us into his home, and giving us the time to talk to him about all these things. I can't wait to go to the Magic Castle. That is on my list in LA. Hearing him describe it, and just the importance it has for magicians, and the fact that we can all go there and catch a magic show. I'm very, very intrigued to hit that up next time I'm in LA. Be sure to check out Magic for Humans on Netflix. It is a great show. I'm not gassing it up. You're going to love it. Check it out. And then also in March of 2020, Justin Willman is coming back to Laughfest, and you'll want to get tickets to that for sure, because his live performances are very unique, very fun, very funny, and there's a lot of great mystifying magic in them as well. And so, again, thank you, Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn for helping us get out to Los Angeles and record all these cool episodes. And also be sure to check out Justin Willman's episode page at the fullexposurepodcast.com website. It is beautiful. Check it out. It is everything in one place. So let's have a great week, everybody, okay? Let's go get it, all right? Take care. This Full Exposure podcast episode has been made possible through the support of Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn, who believe that creativity and the arts are essential to a rich, healthy, and fulfilling life.